boys.
Greetings. In this video I'll be talking about most common misconceptions in MGTOW, and this is not me starting any kind of beef with MGTOW. On the contrary, I want to introduce this new way of thinking and this new philosophy called the black pill, because that's the next step, a next level for any MGTOW or red pill, however you want to call it. And one of the ways to do it is to show differences in opinion. And if you want to disagree with what I'm about to say in this video, there's a comment section. Of course, the most obvious distinction between black pill and the rest of the MGTOW, or shall we say, even manosphere, even though I really don't care about manosphere in general, I just want to focus on MGTOW. The black pill has its own language. For example, triple P concept. When you hear that, you know where it's coming from. It's our thing, so there's no discussion whose is it. And black pill also has a manifesto and goals. The primary goal that works on individual level and the secondary goal that's global. So now let's talk about these misconceptions. The first one is, and I heard this from the most prominent MGTOWs out there, women are like children. That's ridiculous. And if you really believe that, the next time you see Hillary Clinton or Angela Merkel or any other woman in power, say that shit out loud and keep a straight face. I dare you. Keep a straight face. The problem is, when you compare agents with children, you're really giving them a pass. Because children are naive. They don't know any better because they didn't have time to develop and to gain necessary life experience, which is why you want to keep them away from sharp objects, medications, chemicals, and firearms. That's not the case with agents, i.e. women, yet another word we use here in the black pill. We refer to women as agents because that's what they are. They know exactly what they're doing, there's nothing naive about it. The second huge misconception is that women are more valuable to the system because they spend more money. It's like saying that a bottle of milk worth more than a cow. How does that make sense? Yes, women spend more money, but men make money. See how it works? And that's the whole point of a triple P concept. Women serve as monitors of men's production, procreation, and protection. Because without it, you don't have a system, you don't have a society, hell, you don't even have a tribe. Because without production, you're gonna starve to death. Without procreation, you're gonna die off. And without protection, well, you get the picture. And it's another reason why women don't seek freedom, they seek protection. And this is why they have no problem fucking any invader. They need someone to produce for them, to procreate with, and to serve as a protector. It's always been this way. It's the nature of agents, which is why we keep away from them. We don't hate them, we just know who they are and we stay the fuck away from them. Another misconception in MGTOW is this delusion that somehow if we go back to patriarchy, everything is going to be great again. That's not happening for several reasons. Number one, there was never a case in history where a society or empire or civilization, whatever, went back to its previous state. That's not how it works. Because once for example, an empire collapses or breaks up or whatever happens, it evolves in something new. And if you want an example, look no further than Roman Empire, ancient China. Once Roman Empire was divided into, East and West, East being Orthodox Christianity, West being more like Catholic, that was it. It never came back to its previous state. The Caesars were a thing of the past. The Senate was a thing of the past. It became something completely new. And the same thing happened to China after it was invaded by Mongols. Even Mongols changed. Genghis Khan adopted a lot of things from Chinese culture. So every society is in a constant state of metamorphosis, and it's not something you can just reset. It's like a computer when you can just click reset button and you can go back 2 centuries. That's not how it works. And by the way, patriarchy died off at the end of the 19th century. At the beginning of World War I, when women are suddenly allowed to, become a workforce, that was it for patriarchy. So there's no way to go back. That's not how it works. It's not happening. Besides, and this is the second reason, let us assume that by some miracle, okay, just for the sake of argument, that by some miracle you can actually go back into that previous state. How the hell are you gonna convince women after decades of entitlement to simply go back in the kitchen and make you a sandwich? How are you gonna do that? You can't do that. It's gonna take at least 3-4 generations to even begin to go back to the previous state of patriarchy. And speaking of patriarchy, read Russian novels. Read, for example, Tolstoy. Russia was the greatest patriarchal society, at the end of 17th and even in 18th century. It was very, very patriarchal. And noblemen were killing each other left or right over women, so women were still held up on a pedestal. If she was poor, of course, she would live in some shitty house with a bum husband. But if the husband was rich, if he was a nobleman, men would kill for her. She didn't have to do jack shit. I mean, she had the servants, working, the chores and everything around the house. She didn't have to do anything, any fucking thing, and she was spending her husband's money and fortune. So forget about patriarchy, this shit ain't happening, and if you learn more about it, you'll realize that it's not as great as you may think. Now, the biggest misconception in MGTOW has to be, it's not across the board, but there's a big chunk of MGTOW that believes if we simply get rid of feminism and gynocentrism, the rest of the system is okay. The system is fine, we only need to fix those two things. What they don't realize, this is divide and conquer strategy. Feminism is manufactured by the system just as racism, nationalism, gynocentrism, etc. That's how it works. And ask yourself, if you were the ruler, if you was the king, would you rather have your subjects being unified in solidarity, or would you use this, divide and conquer strategy and trying to keep them as divided as possible? So every time they're in dispute, they need to come to you to resolve it. You're the mediator. What would you choose? And there lies your answer. And that includes religion as well. The religion is just one of the ways to keep people, not just people, entire nations divided. And don't get me wrong, I have no problem with spirituality, but organized religion and clergy serve the purpose of keeping us divided. I want to thank you all for listening. Share your thoughts and comments. This is The Black Pill.